You're in the house, and so are we. Hello, it's the 19th of August, 2024. I'm Rudy Maxa. I'm a travel journalist and broadcaster, and Tommy Danielsen is joining me. He is an expert on all things involving points and miles and airlines and hotels. And Marshall Jackson is a airline specialist who knows a whole lot about that. He just dropped in as well. Again, it's keep in mind this we're coming to you on this particular day, which is I keep having to look at my computer, 19th of August, 2024. So we're live now. But if you are tuning in later on Facebook or YouTube, keep in mind what we're telling you today is, to the best of our knowledge, accurate information. So, Tommy, I love your first item. I mean, I just because when I go down to Florida and I'm carrying all that drug money back and forth, I'm worried. But you have a
Yeah,
solution.
yeah. There's a new company now, a competitor to Uber and Lyft, which is called Black Wolf. And Black
Yeah, that
Wolf
sounds bad.
it's a ride sharing, which is available in Arizona to an extent, and in Georgia and in Florida, which all the drivers are armed. That's a
Ooh.
requirement for you to become a driver for this particular for the company called Black Wolf. So it's like an Uber service, but like you said, if you are extremely paranoid, or if you're carrying drugs or drug money or
All
all
right.
of the above, there is an offer now so you can source yourself an armed driver, so you're ready to go when you move when you go clubbing in Miami Beach, or if your family is going to dinner in West Palm or in Florida, among many other places.
This is so comforting to know. I mean, I just can't tell you how comforting this is to know.
Yeah,
Surely they
maybe.
have a future in Texas as well.
Yeah, they got to get somebody in Texas. Exactly.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah, we know somebody who can do the training for that, Rudy.
We do. We do. Yes.
So the minimum requirement is that you have to have 4+ years of experience in military, law enforcement, or the security sector, meet the minimum age to drive in your city, and have a four-door vehicle. And then, of course, you need there are a series of background checks and things like that. So it's a fascinating world we're living in today.
They give you a bulletproof vest when you slide in the back seat, or
They probably should.
I
Um,
wonder how much it costs. Any idea how much more expensive? Sure, there's a
it says
premium.
here it's like it's so from a hotel, pulled up a price ride from hotel in Brickell to Miami Airport, and it costs for an armed ride of $97 for to do that. And if you are doing in Miami, the pricing for armed service has a base fare of $30 and a minimum fare of 65.
Well,
So it's a little bit more than Uber looks like.
yeah, but it's not like having a private bodyguard or anything. So, and I don't know. I wonder how much this driver is going to sacrifice for your sake if trouble hits.
Who knows? Who knows?
Okay.
Security comes with a price.
Black Wolf. Black
Black
Wolf.
Wolf is the service for those who are interested.
Sounds like a bunch of mercenaries going over to Libya or somewhere.
Yes.
Okay.
And now over to something completely different. This is a new app that has just been launched for cruisers, people who like to cruise. And it's an LGBTQ plus app called Meet Me On Board app that helps the gay community connect at sea. Marshall, you're a cruise expert. Have you ever heard of this app?
I have never heard of this app, but I have seen meetings on board. But I guess this is the electronic way to make it happen.
Yes, it sure is. So you can actually here's a Valentine's Day cruise on Seabourn that Rocky over on Travel Codas organized. So it looks like they had a good time there.
Is this part of the LGBT group or no?
This is looks like it's Rocky, our friend that's a writer over at Travel Codex. He is the one who's writing about this apps where you can meet other like-minded people. He organized a cruise on Seabourn where they had a good gig. So started off with a little bit of polarizing stuff this morning, but that's okay, or afternoon, it rather is. This is a kind of an interesting thing. It's been a lot of airlines have done this already, but United Airlines is finally, as one of the last airlines, ditching the paper version of the Hemisphere magazines from the seatback pockets. Did you hear about this?
I had not. No, I know the European airlines still are keeping in their magazines, some of them, but I certainly Delta and Americans disappeared years ago.
No kidding.
I guess I'm surprised United held on as long as they did, but that's definitely the end of an era.
Well, it sort of suggests they might have an electronic version. I mean,
They do have all of them have electronic versions, so you can download it on your phone or go to the website and whatnot. You don't even have to be on a flight to read them if you want.
Boy, they don't publicize that much. I mean, I've written for those magazines, and I didn't even know there were electronic versions of American or Delta or what else. I mean, I didn't know that. They don't really let you. They don't do anything to tell you about that. They'll sell you credit cards when you get on and get off the flight. But
yeah, they talk a lot about the credit cards, don't they?
Yeah.
All right. I wanted to talk a little bit about the all-you-can-fly pass on Wizz Air, which is which has been the chatter of the last week or so. Which it's actually sold out. You cannot purchase this pass anymore, and I
think it was just available for one day, wasn't it, when they sold it?
They had 15,000 of these available, and they all went like hotcakes. It wasn't. I know several people who were trying to buy it, but they were not available to purchase. And so, a couple of things. You obviously need to be in a market where it's available. So 500 euros, so 499 euros per year is the cost. What's the cost? Maybe they'll introduce more than it was so popular. You get access to the entire international Wizz network. They fly everything from like exotic things like Azerbaijan. They fly to Dubai. They fly to the Maldives, I think. They fly all over the place, and of course, it's Airbus 321s. The majority of them are Airbus 321s, which now can fly very many lengths of
too far.
Too far. Very, very, very much far. I mean, there are ways to remedy that, but
do they fly the U.S.?
No, they don't fly to the U.S., but they fly to Iceland and they fly all over Europe. And It's a Hungarian airline. You might want to. It's got a perfect safety record. I've flown them a few times. I flew them on nonstop routes where they were the only ones operating. Is something that's quite common in Europe. And so the $500 you have to book within 3 days at the earliest. So you can only book it 72 hours or closer in. And it doesn't include seats or anything like that. But I know that Wizz already have something called a privilege pass. Which is for $250 a year. You can buy seat selection, 249 euros per year, so about $275. You can buy seat selection priority boarding. It's called a privilege pass. It gives you on board the carry-on bags under the seat. It does priority boarding and one on board carry-on and seat selection also. So for $749, you're sitting pretty here, I think, if you're a little bit flexible and can move around real fast.
Yeah, and if you fly Wizz a lot, if it connects cities you need to go to, that's a whole year of flying for, less than $1,000, including the priority pass.
Yeah, so it would be the priority thing, including everything. It would be like $812, $15 total is the total. It would be for
US.
Yeah, if you back in the day when you were in your 20s, I don't know if you remember that, Rudy. The war has
the 1920s, yeah. Right.
1920, back in the day when the DC-3 made its first flight, and when Rudy was a kid. And
people dressed up back then. They dressed up back then. I remember that.
Yeah, they did. I was there.
And none of the airlines were named Wizz.
Right.
That's true.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that back then, I didn't care what I sat on the planes in my 20s, and they had something called like a youth ticket in Europe where you paid very little money and you were standby at the gate to hang on and stuff. So this is kind of the same gig. I mean, to me, it sounds very, very inexpensive. They have an extensive network, but too bad it's over, and not very as relevant for us here in the U.S., but definitely relevant in the rest.
To our viewers in Europe, yes.
Right. All right. This is one of yours, Rudy.
This I actually know this guy, Michael Summer. Do you know him, Tommy? Michael Summer?
I don't think I've heard of Michael Summer.
Yeah, he worked. Well, I'll tell you about him later. Anyway, he went to dinner in Hawaii at a hotel, and he got charged a 5% resort fee on his check, his dinner check. Now, resort fees are usually something that resorts or even places that aren't resorts try to bill you when you get a room and you check in. They'll put a 5% or more on your daily room rate. But he found it on his dining check, and he was a little cranky. I don't know what happened because I didn't read the whole story, but it certainly is not a good idea as far as I'm concerned. You don't put a resort fee on a dinner check, and if you're just dropping into the hotel to have dinner, so you're not swimming, you're not using their business center, you're not using their gym, not using their beach.
Yeah, I think that so it's interesting, fascinating right now how it's become. It has changed a little bit lately when it comes to these resort fees and stuff. Especially when it comes to the hotels. There because of the legislation that California put into place on July 1st of this year, the Marriott and Hyatt and all of the big chains now show you a total amount that you pay for a hotel. There's no including taxes, all taxes and fee. What you see is what you pay for your hotel room, which is a huge improvement.
Yes,
but there are there are sneaky things. I mean, calling it resort operations, I think, is a little bit interesting, fascinating, but it's not that rare that you show up at a restaurant where they have a workers benefits fee or
I agree with that. That's very common since COVID, but who came up with the idea to call it a resort fee? Okay,
I
just
think
watch
that
your bills
you're
in Hawaii.
coming in fine there, Marshall. Yeah, it's just junk, and of course, what you should do when people come and charge you things like that after you get the bill is to
Protest.
I just don't patronize. I won't come back. Let's just leave it at
that.
Maybe it was easier for them to reprogram their point of sale system.
They should just call it a rip-off fee, because I think you can put whatever you want to call it, or maybe a hoochie mama fee. That's what I think of you fee. All right. So what are the news?
Like the hoochie mama fee.
You like the hoochie mama fee? Yeah, there you go. What's going on with the merger between Hawaiian and
let's turn that over to Michael. What's going on here, Michael? Explain this to us. Is it happening? Marshall, excuse me. Sorry.
Oh yeah, same last name. It's fine.
Oh, you want Michael Jackson as singer? Huh? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Marshall.
Well, I can be. They don't call me MJ for nothing.
All right, I'm sorry, interrupted. So what's going on?
No, but I will moonwalk for us someday on one of these.
My goodness.
I'm not sure what's going on. There is an overall sort of level of concern, not just a specific merger, but this particular administration, I think, is more likely to be automatically opposed to any mergers. This one, I think the only routes they really compete on are, some of the West Coast Hawaii stuff, and that's it. So I'm not sure what the deal is. We'll see. It operationally, it looks like it could work out okay. It'll complicate Alaska's fleet plan a bit, I would say, from that kind of perspective. But DOJ keeps extending this, which means they're doing a deep look at it. If the JetBlue and American Northeast Alliance face some struggles, and I could see a scenario where this merger is going to face problems too.
Well, the money guys seem to believe that by driving Hawaiian stock price, they seem to believe it's going to be nixed. I mean, they're betting with their money, putting their money where their sentiments are, obviously.
We were told that this ruling was supposed to happen today, but that obviously did not happen. And it's after 5 p.m., so I assume that the DOJ has long gone to happy hour or home cooking dinner, but right about now in the Capitol. What do we feel? So I guess it'll be postponed a couple more, a little bit more, actually.
Yeah, there'll probably be at least another extension. We'll see if they have something comes out overnight on this.
So how do we feel about? We chatted about this earlier. I mean, do we need another major airline merger in the U.S., and how does that work out for the consumers?
If I were in charge of anything, Piedmont Airlines would still be in business. So if that tells you.
That's
you
funny.
know, I get the financial aspects and how we may have been a little hyper competitive. Maybe we didn't need 15 airlines, but I think maybe we need more than 4 big ones. Now 5, I guess. I'm not
There you have
counting
it.
Spirit in that, but that's just my opinion.
All right, so let's look at the American Airlines that is waving farewell to their international first class. I guess that's the end of an era. With the last U.S. carrier to have truly international, well, truly first class-ish.
something above business class, right?
You get a bonus soup course, I hear.
Right.
That's pretty much it, and a chair that swizzles. So that's good, right? So they've gotten a temporary exemption to install these suites. That's the new business class that they're doing, and that they are spinning it as having more premium seats. And of course, this means the farewell. That this is on the 777-300 ER or the 77W, as we like to call it every once in a while, and that means that in the fall now we're going to be seeing the first class seats go away.
Well, what isn't this going to be called first class mini suites?
No, it's going to be a business class. So it's flagship business is what they call it. But they're going to have like first row will have a little bit more leg room, and they're going to differentiate it a little bit. But
is a suite just a shoulder length door that closes you in your cubicle?
It is very it's very similar to British Airways and Delta. Well, actually not Delta, but British Airways new seats where you have a little door that closes and things like that.
All right, it's not like the Middle Eastern ones with a separate desk to work on and God knows a shower. Who knows what's in there?
No, I don't think that any business class in the Middle Eastern business class, but Middle Eastern business class, they're not. Emirates still has a lot of planes that are 232 abreast on the 777, so they still have junk out there. Same with Qatar. Not that my last flight on a triple with Qatar had the seats are completely unobstructed and all that stuff, and it's a good quality seat, but you're out in the open and it's 232 obviously in a 777. So I mean, wait a minute, do they have 222 on the I don't remember, but it definitely is a new style.
Where's this going to fly, Tommy? Is it going to be cross country or international, or
they use these planes to fly to Hong Kong, or used to at least
long flights?
They fly from LAX to London. They fly from Dallas to London. Okay. They fly, it's a long haul plane. It's the biggest plane that American has.
Okay, so it's international flights primarily that will have these mini suites.
Well, I wouldn't call them mini suites. I mean, I don't know what to call them, but the point is that first class is definitely gone, and that's at the end of an era for that. So speaking of, we talked a couple of weeks ago about American also having some very, very high cost in regards to pilot, and it looks to me like they are the last ones. We'll talk a little bit about that, because I saw that the Air Canada pilots are threatening to go on strike because they wanted to have a new agreement with their employer. But I don't know. It seems like all of the carriers here in the U.S. are on pilot freeze. What do we make of this, Marshall?
Supply chain issue, slow deliveries of aircraft. I'm not completely certain that the economic situation in the country is as rosy as it may feel either, just based on a couple of little things I'm seeing around. We'll see how traffic is after the summer. I've seen some discounting in the fall. I'm not sure demand is as high, as robust as it has been, but we'll see how things unfold. And then there are obviously some of the labor agreements are pretty expensive.
Mm-hmm. So, Marshall, if you were head of the union, Marshall, for the Air Canada pilots, would you say, yeah, go on strike? It's a good idea. Or would you say, look around the industry, pilots are getting laid off and demoted?
I would try to advise them that industry conditions may be changing a bit or evolving, and to keep a close eye on the market for pilots, because it has stabilized quite a bit. And as you had mentioned, some of the airlines are furloughing people, or at least stopping training.
Right.
Okay. We'll see how things unfold.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we're seeing is that all of the American is the last carrier to completely stop hiring. They paused pilot hiring in June, and same with following Delta, United, and Southwest, who has slowed or stopped hiring pilots completely, which means that the regional carriers are now having easier times filing pilots. But that also means that obviously the unions have taken advantage of a situation where, Sun Country. What does it say? Sun Country reported a single pilot made $750,000. Meanwhile, the other major carriers over $500,000 a year is common, and the airlines aren't making that much money right now. They actually aren't making money in the United States if you take the loyalty programs out of the equation. I think that this was pretty predictable, and I thought it was going to happen more like next year, but it's already happening. It means that right now there are a lot of pilots who went into training and they took the plunge because they saw the salaries that were there. There's not a pilot shortage anymore. So I feel like also the demand is kind of slowing a little bit because that crazy leisure traveling stuff is coming to an end because people are, the COVID, what do they call it?
The revenge travel.
Revenge travel is over. Yeah. And leaning in, we're going to go in a minute over to talk a little bit about Paris and the hotel market in general. Because Rudy has a case on that. So I think that, going on strike now, it might be a little bit interesting.
Yep, I agree.
All right. Rudy, this was you.
This is a story that just broke a couple hours ago. This guy is one of England's best known software entrepreneurs. His name is Mike Lynch. And he long ago started a very successful company, and he sold it to Hewlett Packard. And then the U.S. Justice Department investigated him for perhaps gilding the lily when it came to his earnings and so on, and that he may have lied about the value of his company, et cetera. And that led to, I don't know, something I can't remember, over a 10-year lawsuit from the DOJ, Department of Justice. Anyway, Mr. Lynch, with his family and his lawyer and her family, have a huge yacht, and it was harbor or tied up just outside of Sicily in the southern tip of Italy, and some kind of weird tornado came up, and it around 5 a.m, and it toppled the ship, and a number of people were killed, including the mogul. And his daughter, his wife survived, and a 1-year-old baby survived. I think there were 22 people on the yacht. This is a big yacht. And they were there literally to celebrate his acquittal on all these charges. And he's very well known in the UK. He's like England's Bill Gates. Everybody knows him there.
That's what it's referred to here. I mean, it says so. This is tagged by Fox News as a natural disaster. So that's interesting. I don't know if we were going to agree to that, but it sounds like there wasn't some sort of a win thing that.
It was real, yeah. The legal battle represented one of the biggest fraud cases Silicon Valley's ever seen. So this was a major, major thing that went on. As I say, I'm sure it's over. I'm looking in this story to see if there are 15 survivors, by the way. I'm trying to see how long this case went on. It was in a different story I read. It was over 10 years.
Right.
And this guy was so happy it was over. He started another company, by the way, that's worth billions. But it went on for so long. He was out there celebrating on the coast of Italy, and bad things happened. Anyway, it's a tragic story.
Was it confirmed that he died?
Yep.
Okay, that's. I guess Fox News didn't get killing at least one. It says so. They haven't identified anybody.
Yeah, he did. He did perish, and did it as is his daughter, not his wife, but he and his daughter. So anyway.
All right. So we were talking about traveling in Paris and things like that, and you said that there after the Olympics, the demand in travel or the hotel demand in Paris has kind of dropped like a stone. It's very inexpensive to go to Paris. We also saw last year that it's kind of crazy, but not anymore.
No, and also keep in mind that August is their big vacation month for all the French people and Europeans generally, and kids are starting to go back to school, and there's only another week and a half left in August, so it's a good time to go to Paris if you've been putting it off. We did talk when we talked, I guess, the last week or so about even with the Olympics there, hotels were offering very good deals because they didn't fill up. But now it's even better. They didn't fill up then, and they're not filling up yet. Airfares too. I saw a bunch of airfares online today from various U.S. cities for $560 round trip, $700 round trip, the most expensive I saw. So there are airfare deals as well as hotel deals. So if you've been putting off a Paris trip, might be a good time to look at it right now if you want to go while the weather's still warm.
You said there were a couple of deals. I don't subscribe to Joe. Joe was there or whatever it's called.
Oh, Joe Brancatelli?
Yeah. So
well, let me see what I can find here.
we lost Rudy.
I've been having a little flaky internet issue.
I think he because he went into his phone as well. I think he's still here, but we just lost his lovely face there for a minute.
Paris goes on sale.
But I'm happy to see good deals.
Yeah, well, he had a whole bunch of deals. Paris after the Olympics, he said. Singapore Airlines is offering amazing prices on premium economy fares to Asian destinations. Choice Hotels offering $50 gift cards for 2 late summer stays. Fairmont Hotels in Americas cut 25% off their nightly rates. I mean, those are a lot of...
Yeah, there definitely are people who are thinking that airfares are high. They are not. I booked a couple of premium economy tickets between California and Europe for the fall, and they are around $1,000, which is about $1,000 less than it was about a year ago.
Yeah, I panicked and bought for the upcoming cruise. We're going on a little early, I'm afraid, but still saved a bunch from what the airlines were looking for earlier.
Absolutely. So Rudy.
So here's Air France. Here are these offers. San Francisco to Barcelona from $450 round trip. Now, I'm sure this is the cheapest economy seat you can find, but still, if you're Florence,
economy from the West Coast now is $400 to $500 anywhere in Europe, anytime you want to go.
That's unbelievable. I mean, particularly this summer. I mean, the first 2 weeks of December, first 2 weeks of January, maybe, but it's quite extraordinary, I think, for right now. Great.
So let's talk a little bit. The deals in Paris that you had were a couple of them, right? There was one. Was it the Fairmont or?
Yeah, where was that one? Let's see. Is that in this thing? Again, I sent all this to you. I don't know where I.
Yeah, let me look it up. I can't go into that because I don't subscribe to that particular gig there. But
it was in Joe's column.
Yeah, it was. That's where it came from. So I can go into my email and see if I can find it there.
Well, I'm at Joe's column. Let me look again.
Joe was here. Paris goes on sale. There we go. So it says that Choice Hotel is offering $50 gift cards for 2 late summer stays, and Fairmont Hotels cuts 25%. There is looking at Paris. So let's talk a little bit. We did this for London about 2 weeks ago. What's the best hotel in Paris?
You're asking me?
I am.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Crillon, Plaza Athénée, Four Seasons, which is called the Georges V there. I don't know. Those are all certainly. Oh, and then there's that new one that opened up with all the views of the river. It's the white something or other, Cheval Blanc. That's now the most expensive hotel there, I think.
What is it called?
The Cheval Blanc, the white horse.
Cheval Blanc.
Yeah.
Cheval Blanc.
It's the only hotel where every room has a view of the river, the Seine River.
Oh, it's by Pont Neuf.
Yeah, so right.
That's $3,000 a night. That seems a little bit.
That's not necessarily a bargain, but it's the best bar to go to for a view. For cocktails, go to the Cheval Blanc. Yeah, their cocktails are probably $25, $30 each, but the view is incomparable. As you say, it overlooks the Pont Neuf. You can see the Eiffel Tower to your right, Notre Dame to your left. It's a big place. It's a great place to go have a cocktail. $3,000 a night is probably a great hotel, but I haven't exactly. My budget is just a little light this month. Okay.
Oh yeah, right. So, how do we feel about so looking at the other hotels in Paris? I feel like it's pretty inexpensive compared to last year. Looking at the twos, and there's obviously the 5-star ones that are good. I like the JK Place, which is a Roccaforte hotel that's right next to the Seine and the not very far from your favorite museum in Paris. And
What's the Park Hyatt? Is that? I wonder what that is.
the Park Hyatt is also dropping significantly. Let's see how much that is selling for right now. So for this particular date, it's $1,500. But I stayed there in earlier this year in February, March, and I paid 400, 500,
Wow.
something like that.
Wow.
So that's obviously not, looking at what's offered in September. It's if we take a random date, it definitely isn't crazy anymore, for sure. I mean,
Yep.
all the good hotels are you're talking about the Plaza Athénée, which is over here somewhere, right? Facing that also has a good view of the Eiffel Tower, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it can. Some of the rooms, yeah, not all of them.
Yeah, and then you've got George Cinq is obviously
Next
the
door.
Bulgari is also a newer Marriott affiliate.
Oh, I forgot about the Bulgaria. Yeah, right.
Yeah, the Bulgari is right there next to the Prince de Gaulle, which is a luxury collection.
What's the Bulgari charging? Do they have to shovel launch?
This is obviously an expensive week we're looking at here, but it says 1,800. Usually it's about 900 euros, I would say. And then you have the Four Seasons, the George Cinq across the street with its neighbor, the Prince de Gaulle, which is a luxury collection, so a Marriott hotel. And then you have, of course, the Mandarin Oriental, which is close to the let me go and see here. Here we go. So it's here. Here's the Mandarin Oriental. And
what's the price on that? What was the price on that?
1,600.
Okay.
And then you've got the Ritz 2,000. You can easily find the Paris, the Park Hyatt Vendôme is 1,500. So
yeah, no, I think you can find two for very nice hotel rooms for $250.
Yeah. Hotel de Louvre, which is which you like a lot, is $580 right here.
It'll be cheaper. It'll be cheaper in the winter if you want to go, as Tommy says.
Yeah, and then the Grand Hotel Palace Royal, which you also liked. You stayed there a couple of times right before the COVID. And then you've got the Intercontinental, and the new Kimpton also is getting some good reviews up there. 578 for that. Marshall,
Okay.
You're a big Kimpton fan, aren't you?
Back in the day, OG Kempton, yes.
Yeah, they've got it. It's not that long ago since they opened, I think. The Kimpton St. Honoré. Right. And if you were to look more up in the regular style hotels, I mean, they are definitely coming down. Did we miss any of the hotels that are good? Jakey Place, I don't know. Do you like the Roccaforte hotels, Rudy?
Yeah, I haven't stayed in many I've stayed them in Italy only. I've never stayed in any in France. I mean, you can look up the Creon, but we get the idea. I think we got.
Yeah, no, I think it's to me it feels like it's definitely coming down significantly, and we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of movement in the pricing here, which I find quite kind of interesting that it's now over, and it looks to me like prices are coming down. I mean, I'm flying out tomorrow to London, and I'm going to stay in London for a couple nights, and the Churchill is £230.
Oh my gosh, that's an expensive.
That used to be, you couldn't find that for under £600 through the whole pandemic and after.
Goodness.
So 230, that's with the dollar being super strong right now. It's a great thing to. It's definitely you're the king in Europe for sure. With the euro and the euro, that's like 108, and the pound is about 126.27. So, and if you look at the Scandinavian currencies, they are particularly weak. Particularly the Norwegian kroner is at 11 to 1. So that's the dollar is definitely king. Also, when you go to Japan, it's also king right now. And that's a wrap.
Oh, I just want to mention the Hokkaido airport thing. One of the in northern Japan, the island of Hokkaido, the airport, one of the stores in the airport on the other side of security found they had a pair of scissors missing. They alerted security and canceled tons of flights. People missed some they just canceled them. Some they postponed them for hours, and they searched everywhere for the scissors but couldn't find them. But apparently we're okay for the moment anyway. But that was
good
yesterday.
to know.
Yeah, but I've never quite heard of a store going We can't find our scissors. Shut down the airport. What do you think? Is that Marshall? Would that be? Would
And
we do
here
that
I
in
thought
America?
America was the only place goofy stuff happened.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
I said, and here I thought America was the only place goofy stuff like that happened.
Well, I don't think anybody in America would report it. If you ran a gift store, in a big airport, and your scissors went missing,
I would
you
keep
call
quiet about that because that sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen. That's the first thing. But here, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're a pilot, you don't even go through security when you go on a plane, or a flight attendant for that matter. So I would say that I'm sure that these ladies or gentlemen going on board a plane sometimes might have have a pair of scissors with them.
Just might. All right. Well, nice to see you guys. Let me remind everybody, I keep having to look at the date. It's the 19th of August, 2024. We're talking to you live now. If you're watching this later, people can be watching this. How long do they stay on YouTube? 20 years, 50? If you're watching this later than the 29th of August in 2024, information is accurate as far as we know as of today. Double check if you're watching it later than today.
And if you're watching this in 2071, Rudy was a famous TV star back in the day before your kids
I had
were
hair.
born. Back before when your grandparents were
Marshall and I both had hair, yeah.
When this
Yeah,
guy
I had great
Donald
hair.
Trump was alive under his presidency, Rudy and Maxa was a famous guy, and then we are Marshall and I are two goofballs who are honoring his presence here on this channel.
Well, I'll say goodbye. I'll say hello to everybody in the future. I wish we could have met, but I had to go. Hello, I must be going. It's just